the cetaceans that we're talking about, not hippos. Apparently, camels and giraffe also fit within the same family, but hippos are closest to the whales and the dolphins and the harbour porpoises. So, cetaceans are mammals like us. They spend all of their time in the water. They have that long, streamlined, sort of almost bullet shaped body that allows them to move quickly through the water. And they are carnivorous, so they eat fish. Their tails are paddle-like and give them that powerful kick that they can then swim and maneuver through the water with. And then they have these forelimbs, flipper-shaped forelimbs that help them to steer. There's two different types of cetaceans. There are the toothed cetaceans that have teeth like us, odontocetes, and then there's the baleen cetaceans, which are the mysticetes. And I've got a nice picture of what a baleen plate is in a moment. They are highly intelligent. They're very sociable as well, and can have complex behavior within their groups and with other species too. And they're also known for their size, the blue whale being the largest mammal on our planet. And you can see the size of it there compared to the elephant and compared to the snorkeler or the scuba diver. I can't see if they've got a tank in the back, but anyway, you can see just how big they are. They have a blowhole on the top of their head, which is, if you imagine your nostrils being moved all the way up with evolution onto the back of your head, that's the blowhole. The blowhole is what they breathe through, and it is closed when they're under the water. They come up, have a quick exhale, and then inhale, and then they go down again. And because they're mammals like us and they breathe air, it does mean that they have to surface, and that's when we tend to see them. Their eyes are on the sides of their heads. They do have pretty good eyesight. Their lens is soft, so it means that they can see equally out of the water as in the water as well. And there are the two different types. There's the baleen, so whales whales can be baleen or toothed, and the dolphins and the harbour porpoises are toothed. They have their dorsal fin. So the toothed whales and dolphins have their dorsal fin sort of about midway along their back, whereas the baleen whales, it can be further back, closer to the tail. Okay, let's move on. Just aware of time. Oh. So this is a lovely picture of bottlenose dolphins that are surfacing here, and you can see that spray when they're breathing. They really sort of shoot up, exhale, it goes up. It's got a bit of water in there, so you get that lovely spray there, and then they inhale and they go down back into the water. Some of you may recognize this bottlenose dolphin here, and we'll talk a little bit about that one later on. Also, being mammals like us, they not only breathe air, but they also give birth to live young. So this is a young calf, and when they are sort of in the mum, they're curved round, and you can actually see these lines here. These are the folds from when before they were born. They feed on milk from their mums, and they can do that for up to a year, sometimes a little bit longer. Um, the gestation period's generally about a year for the species that I'm going to be talking about, and they can be sort of about 3 years old, 3 to 5 years old when they meet sexual maturity and start producing their own. They often keep the calves with them and look after them until the calves are about sort of 3 to 5, maybe 7, depending on the species, years old. And then the calves will become more independent, and the female dolphin will be ready to, even have a porpoise, will be ready to breed again. And they only have one at a time. So here's some more of my volunteers. Oh, and Stuart Baines, who is an amazing volunteer from North Yorkshire. I may be using some of his photos today. They were at Crimdon, where I was earlier today, and this is a training session seeing what we can see there. So this is what we've been seeing. Not hippos, but we've been seeing harbour porpoise, and we've seen quite a few of these. They are quite tricky to see because they are quite small. They're not sort of very demonstrative like bottlenose dolphins. There's not so much, I'm not saying they can't leap around, but there's not so much sort of acrobatic behavior from the harbour porpoise. And if there's any bottlenose dolphins around, the harbour porpoise will disappear. They do not like them. And for a good reason. The bottlenose dolphins can be quite sort of not very nice to the harbour porpoise. You can see the harbour porpoise has a really flat, blunt front of the face. It's this lovely sort of it's grey here, but it can be like a dark brown back, and then the lighter belly there. And one of the most distinguishing features is its flat, sort of pyramid-shaped dorsal fin. The harbour porpoise can be about 2 meters long, so if you see my scuba diver there, it's about the same sort of length as your average person. Um, they do swim quite slowly. You tend to get them in small groups, and they feed pretty much all day long. They like their food. And one of the ways to identify them is they look a little bit like a low tire in the water, just breaking through the water, and they sort of do a rolling motion, and you'll see that flat triangular dorsal fin rolling through the water there. They do come into our rivers at the estuary. So this is at South Shields, and that's in the mouth of the Tyne, and so we can see them there as well. Okay, one of our larger cetaceans that we see a lot of here are the bottlenose dolphin in the North Sea. We have the largest of their species. We like to say it's because the North Sea is so cold that they need lots of blubber, so we've got chubby dolphins here. And like I said earlier, they look like lovely, sweet, happy chappies, but they can be quite aggressive towards other species such as the harbour porpoises and the white-beaked dolphins. They were first recorded here in 1966. They beforehand were up around Edinburgh and the east coast of Scotland. And then over time, they've started to come down here. And it was really sort of, from the 2000 onwards that they became more regular. We can't really say that they're properly resident yet, but they're nearly resident here. We see them a lot. Okay. They have that lovely grey, sort of different tones of grey colouring, and then they have that lovely dorsal fin that's a bit shaped like a sort of Papa Smurf's kind of hat. They're much bigger than the harper porpoise. They're about twice the size, so they are pretty large. And we identify them because they are quite showy. They let you know that they're there, and you can identify them by their movements. They do lots of jumping and acrobatics, which is really fun to watch and which is lovely when you have people surveying and coming to our public events. And this is one of our sort of more famous bottlenose dolphins that we have in the northeast, known as runny paint, who has a really unusual markings down the base of a dorsal fin on both sides. There's a white stripe there, hence runny paint, the name. She was first spotted as an adult dolphin here in the mid 90s. So she's been visiting our coast for like 30 years. And she seems to be a real matriarch, and there's a lot of love for runny paint. Bottlenose dolphins can live to be sort of average age of about 40, maybe 50, like some reaching 50, maybe beyond that, but we're still learning about them. And yeah, it'll be a sad day when we stop seeing runny paint on our coast. Okay, white-beaked dolphin. I've just seen these once at Roke Pier and it was amazing. These are a cold water species, so we are lucky to have our lovely cold North Sea waters here because we get to see white-beaked dolphins. They are quite regular in the North Sea, but they don't tend to come close to shore very often. They're more of an offshore species. And like I said, they don't like bottlenose dolphins, and bottlenose dolphins do like to come to shore, so they're quite territorial. They're a beautiful dolphin. Their dorsal fin is much sort of sleeker and runs a bit higher. So as they move through the water, they sort of slice through it, and you get this spray that you see coming up behind them. They have a blunter beak here, and then the bottlenose dolphin, and it's white-beaked dolphin, makes sense. And it comes all the way down here, and then they also have this lovely white sort of almost saddle mark that runs along the side of the body up to the front of their dorsal fin. They are um, sort of bigger than harbour porpoises, but not as big as bottlenose dolphins. And yeah, you can see they have that saddle marking there, and they also look like they'd be nice, smiley, happy dolphins, unless there's bottlenose dolphins around. And here you can see them moving through the water with that spray coming up behind them. They're just gorgeous. You can see how high up that dorsal fin comes from the body. Lovely. And even when they're not having that slice effect, you can still see the white, that pale saddle coming down up in front of their dorsal fin behind their heads. Okay. Then the fourth species that is one of our most regular species in the North Sea from our coast is the minke whale. We haven't recorded it from our shores. They tend to be more offshore, so boat sightings. The only time I've seen it was on a boat, um, and they're pretty massive. They're about the same size as a London bus. They often are very seasonal. North Yorkshire coast, you get a lot more sightings of them than you do on our coast here. And they go where their food is. So the summer's the best time, late summer, to see them. They're actually the smallest of the whale species, of the baleen whale species, but they're still pretty big, and you can see them against the scuba diver there. They're still pretty massive, and when I saw it, I was like, whoa. Um, they're dark above with their pale underside there, and they're really distinctive because they have the white band on their pectoral fins there. Um, their dorsal fin is really far back here, and it's just a little one there. And sometimes you can see the blowhole at the same time as the dorsal fin when they surface, if you're lucky. They're also known, fishermen say that you can often smell them before you see them, so they've got the nickname Stinky Minky. And here you are, so you can see its head will be well under the water there, and that's its dorsal fin still left there. And this is a lovely photo because you've got the blowholes. So baleen whales have two blowholes, and toothed, oh, baleen, yeah, and toothed cetaceans just have the one. Um, so this is the minke one. You can see it's two blowholes there, and then its dorsal fin at the back. So that's the four species that we tend to see. If you're interested, and I think, oh, I'm pretty spot on for time. Amazing. If you're interested in coming along to some public events, we still got a couple that are happening. I've got one this Sunday, but it's fully booked. There's another one on the 22nd of February, and that's in Hartlepool Headland, which is a brilliant spot. We do have cetaceans on our coast all year round. There are fewer during the winter, but we still survey all year round just in case we might be lucky. So fingers crossed for February. I'll be doing another one in half term, but I haven't organised that yet, so that will be going online tomorrow. Um, if you're interested in having some survey training, we train for free. We have regular social surveys with the volunteers. We had one at Christmas, which was lovely. We didn't see anything, but we went for coffee afterwards, and it was great. Nice to have a catch up. And the volunteers are trained to do their own independent surveys. So they've got the skills, they've got the kit, and we can provide binoculars if needed as well. And then it's up to them how many surveys they do, where they do them, and how long they spend. But we also do group surveys too. For future events, that's our events page there on our website. And this is my email address if anyone is interested, would like me to put you on a list for our next training session, which will be probably at Easter time. Then drop me an email and register your interest with me. I've got some other little logos down there, and these are some organisations that I'd like to say thank you to. There are some amazing Facebook pages if you're interested in seeing what's out and about. If you're happening to be going to the coast and you want to see if anything's heading your way, I do this. I'm a member of several different Facebook groups. And one of them we've done some work with, Northeast Cetacean Project. I have used some photos in my slides today that have been shared with me by them, which I'm very grateful for because they're amazing. And so I'd like to say thank you to Marine Life and the Northeast Cetacean Project and all of the other local dolphin watching groups that we have. I'd also like to say thank you to Coast Sunderland because sometimes we do events with them at Roker. And also the National Trust have been giving me permission to do surveying and events from Suter Lighthouse at Whitburn, which is one of the best cetacean viewing places on our coast. But if you want to go and see some cetaceans, it is just look at the day. Go when the seas are calm. Take some binoculars if you have them, but you don't necessarily need them. And just spend an hour and just look for the sea. Look for splashes, look for dark shapes. If you think you see something, watch it and wait, because remember it's a mammal and it'll need to come back up and appear because it needs to breathe. But yeah, just get out there, come along to some stuff, to some events, and any questions or interest, email me. Cool, thank you. I'm going to stop sharing.
Thank you very much for that, Dee. That was absolutely brilliant there. Fascinating.
Thank you.
Perhaps the first time DWT's ever shown a picture of a hippo before. You get very often.
I couldn't resist it. I couldn't resist it.
I think you got the one on there. So we've had one question so far, and I've got a couple here myself as well. But for anybody else who wants to ask any questions, feel free to use Q&A function. Feel free to pop it in the webinar chat, or you can pop your hand up, and I can unmute you so you can ask your questions as well. Okay, I'll just start. We had a question earlier on just asking, does Sea-Watch operate from Seaham Harbour?
Oh, Sea-Watch Foundation or
I think
what we're doing.
I think Sea-Watch Foundation was mentioned there. Yeah. Yeah, Sea-Watch.
Um, so Sea-Watch Foundation are based in Wales, I believe, which makes sense. And yeah, I'm pretty sure they're based in Wales. But we work in partnership with them to do the land-based surveys and survey training and share all the data with them. They do have regional representatives that cover the whole of the UK. So there is, if you're not in the Northeast and you want to get involved, visit the Sea-Watch Foundation website and it'll have the contact details for your regional coordinator, and they will get you involved. Or contact your local wildlife trust, and they might have someone that can help you find the right information and get involved.
Perfect. Another question here from Penny, who is asking, how well policed is the protection zone?
Oh, sorry, I have no idea. Um, Maybe not enough. Am I naughty saying that? I don't know.
I think we can get away with
I'm
maybe
really
saying
sorry. I don't know.
we can always protect it more, I think, just 'cause
Yeah, there's always the need for more protection because there are issues out there, and I know it's difficult to police because it is the open sea and it costs money to do that. But But yeah, we're just focused on gathering all the information that we can so that we can say there is a need for it. So yeah.
And another one just on the SAC, which again you might not be able to answer, but we can take a little punt at it at least. And that is, why is the SAC such an irregular shape? Is it to do with fishing grounds?
Oh, again, I'm not too sure. However, we've got everyone's email addresses, haven't we? So if you're happy with me, I can find out from my colleagues at Yorkshire Wildlife Trust who will know, because they have marine policy people, and I can ask those questions that I can't to them and share their answers with everybody. Um,
Even put it out alongside the recording when we put it out. We could do a little bit at the end.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
perfect. Another again from Susanna there. Have there been instances where cetaceans have been involved with fishing gear entanglement locally?
Oh, um.
I've not heard of anything.
I've not heard of anything. I know we do get cetaceans washing up occasionally. There's a harbour porpoise that was recently on, I think it was Crimson Beach. And But I don't think there were any signs of entanglement. But we do have, when we do our beach cleans, because we do lots of regular beach cleans, a lot of what we pick up is, sort of ghost fishing, like fishing gear, bits of nets, fishing line, hooks, weights. So it is out there and it's washing up on our beaches. So we're trying to get rid of what we can. Um, but yeah, I'm not aware of it, but that doesn't mean that there isn't. It's just it doesn't get reported to us. So, but again, I can find out because I know some people that will know.
Correct. A question here from Neil. We're getting a few questions now, Fan Davidosi.
Oh, I hope I can answer one.
Are there more or fewer sightings farther south, such as out off the Norfolk coast?
Oh, I don't get to see the Norfolk data, but North Yorkshire and Humberside, I know there are a lot of volunteers and a lot of sightings there. I think it depends on the time of year as well, because some species like to be here in the summer, because they like the cooler water in the summer, whereas in the southern areas, it can be a bit too warm for them. So we have really good like white-beaked dolphin populations in the summer because of that, because they like that cooler water here. And then it sort of swaps over. So they then head south for the winter because it's too cold up here. So depending on the species, the time of year can impact what we have around as well.
Wish I was allowed to head
So
south for the winter. But okay. So, a next question is from Roger. Do you go as far north as Bamborough? There seems to be a lot of dolphins around regularly around there.
yeah, unfortunately we don't. Just because being Durham Wildlife Trust, our boundary is the River Tyne and the River Tees. I don't think Northumberland Wildlife Trust aren't in the North Sea Wildlife Trusts group. Just they don't, well, obviously they have Blair, but they don't seem to have many designated coastal staff or marine staff. Um, if we have the funding to go further north, then we could. But at the moment we don't have that. So yeah,
Thank
maybe
you.
maybe for the future. But I know there's a lot of sightings there, and especially around like the Farne Islands. That's where I saw the minke whale. I went up to
It's
go on one of the
quite a,
boat trips, and yeah,
quite a popular cetacean site around the Farns, isn't it? That
yeah,
one.
it's amazing. It's brilliant.
Our next question comes from Alexis. When is the busiest season when it comes to spotting cetaceans? Does DWT operate cetacean watches with public citizen science apps like iNaturalist or equivalent? So a couple of questions in there for you.
Oh, there are, aren't there? So the best time of year is in the summer. That's when they are. generally more sightings. That's when we have National Whale and Dolphin Watch Week, which is actually a fortnight, which is weird. And we also have Marine Week. Orca Watch happens in North Scotland. So there's the summer generally is the best time. Where there's a lot of more sightings. It could be because that's when they're having their young, so they're coming in and they operate sort of nurseries in shallower bays and areas. Um, Finding more fish. Also, there may be more fish around because obviously they're spawning then too. So yeah, June, definitely July, August, and September are good times.
There you are, folks.
But
You
you
can
can see them all year round. And with the apps, we don't use the apps because you can, as a member of the public, not one of my volunteers, you can use Sea-Watch Foundation has its own app. iNaturalist, I'm not sure about recording marine mammals on that. We do use that as a citizen science project that I'm running to do with coastal species like that we have in our grassland habitats. Um, but we tend to we ask our volunteers to do the paper-based surveys and send them to us just because if they submitted their sightings on the website or the app to Sea-Watch Foundation, we wouldn't be able to retrieve the information and we wouldn't know that it was our volunteers and we wouldn't get the same amount of data. So for us, we like the forms. We can put it in our spreadsheets and then pass it on to them. But oh, but but yeah, if you're not one of my volunteers, then go for it.
cash on. Excellent. Two more questions that we have here. So we've got one. Oh, another one popped up, but we're going from Helen here. Could you repeat when the next few DWT cetacean surveys are?
The public events. Yes, so there's one this Sunday, but that is fully booked. So I'll ask you not to come along to that one unless you are booked on. I am going to give the people that are registered a little nudge tomorrow and say that if for whatever reason they can't come, to let me know, and then we can shake up the numbers and see if we can free up some spaces. Um, The 22nd of February is at Hartlepool from 10 till 12. We meet outside the Youth Battery Museum. The details are on the website and you can book onto that at the moment. And then the other one is in half term and it's going to be on the Monday or the Tuesday in half term, which is going to be, if I quickly have a look at my diary. Sorry, bear with me a second.
This will all be on the Eventbrite as well, won't it?
It'll be on Eventbrite and on our website. Yes, it'll either be on the 16th or the 17th of February.
Perfect.
Location undecided just yet.
TBD for that
I
one.
will decide tomorrow. I might go Sunderland because that's quite easy and sort of middle for everyone to get to. So
Few nice cafes and things around that point as well, isn't
we've
there?
got facilities.
Yeah,
Facilities are
there you
good.
go. Our next question is from Susanna. How long will this project continue and is there funding? So I know you've mentioned that a little bit, but if you just want to go back and
Yeah, so the Sea Changers Fund finishes at the end of March, which is why we're finishing the public events in February. However, I am meeting my colleague tomorrow to see if we can approach them to ask if they'd like to fund for another year, because it's been amazing. So that funding was to deliver 18 public events across the year and to have 150 people come along, and we've had almost 200. So, and I've still got two events to deliver, so we're smashing those numbers and I'm loving all the enthusiasm from the people here. And so yeah, so we are working to see if we can get another little pot of funding to be able to continue beyond March. And like I said, if we don't have the funding, I'll let's hope that my boss isn't because if I'm going to do it for free, why would they pay me? I'll probably do it for free as a volunteer anyway. So, because I don't want it to finish. We've been doing it since, since 2021. So it's been running and it'd be a pity for it to end after 5 years. So it will be continuing.
Here's hoping we can get the funding at least to keep you on with that one. And it sounds like after this talk, you'll have a few extra volunteers, which is really lovely as well.
Fingers crossed.
So our final question here comes from Daniel, and he's asking, are the surveys aimed at gaining information with any particular focus, or is it purely to document the number of sightings?
Yes, so it's what we see, where we are, so where they are, when, um, what the species are, what their behavior is. So what are they doing? Are they feeding? Are they just swimming on past? Um, we also make a note of any associated seabirds, so we're collecting information about that, as well as the movement of boats or other sort of marine vessels in the area, to see if maybe their behaviour can be influenced by that. We capture how many there are, so population information, and also whether there may be any calves or juveniles present too. We submit our survey sheets regardless of whether we've had a sighting. I should have mentioned this earlier, because it's just as important to know that they're not somewhere at a certain time and place as to know that they are somewhere. So the surveys get submitted regardless of whether there's been a sighting happening. Um, so yeah, all information's good information.
And that'll give us a good sort of understanding with the volunteers of population numbers and distribution around the UK if everyone
Yeah,
pulls it all together.
and
Yeah,
it's all combined. They get a really good picture. So yeah.
fabulous. Oh, we've got one more here. So,
Okay.
with the data already collected, have you found that boats do influence the behavior of the different species? Is that something that you could potentially talk about, Dee?
Um, I'm from the surveys that I've seen and from what my volunteers have captured, it seems like we've not seen during our surveys any like sort of bad behavior from boats. I have seen bad behavior whilst I've been on boats on a pelagic boat trip. Um, a couple of them. But during our surveys, we've not witnessed anything which is encouraging. So I'd like to think that it's quite rare and unfortunate when it does happen. And I think sometimes, especially with like kayakers, it can just be them not knowing that you're meant to keep a distance. And sometimes, it's okay if you stop and then the pod or group like come to you. I would be encouraging people to move away if possible, but again, it can be a lack of knowledge. So the more we know, the more we say, the more people can understand. So
That's part of where your role comes in as well as building that
yeah,
understanding there. Absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
So I'm very briefly, folks, I'm going to pop in a little poll just to get a little bit of feedback from you all. So hopefully that's popping up for you, but feel free to answer them if you're able to. And while we're doing that, so we've got an anonymous attendee asking, did you give them a good telling off, D, when you were on the...
We reported them to the police. We
Yeah.
took their details and reported them to the police, and I heard that they did follow it up, and that boat, the people on that boat, were known. Um, so yeah, I'm not sure what happened after that, but
Here's
yeah,
hoping they've learnt their lesson now at least and practicing their, yeah, cetacean meeting a bit better now. Well, I will leave it there. I think that's us answered all our questions. But I'd like to say
brilliant.
thank you very much, Dee. That has been absolutely fascinating. I've learned a lot, not coming from a marine cetacean background. That was really, really interesting. So hopefully be able to join you for a few more sessions before you wrap up as well, which would be quite nice. And we have our next talk for those of you still listening, which will be taking place a week today, same time, same day, and that will be with Dr. Pittmore from Newcastle University, who'll be telling us all about kelp. And if you're interested at all in the Stronger Shores project, I've just popped a little link into the chat there so you can find out a little bit more about the work that we're doing through our story map there. But again, a huge thank you, Dee, and a huge thank you to everyone who
Oh, thank you, Blair. And thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining us. It's been I've really enjoyed it. I could talk about this for ages. So thank you for listening.
fabulous. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening and catch us all later. Thanks, Dee. Bye for now, folks.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.